Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the show that serves you vitamin E. E for education, E for entertainment, and finally,
E for excellence. This is the Great Debaters Contest. I am your host, Esperancia Kapanga.
And I am Chris Buru. In today's battle, we have Kiambu High School proposing the motion that states, Africa cannot do without the West.
In the opposition, we have Kabare Girls High School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
A little bird once told me that if you want to go far, walk with people. But if you want to go fast, walk on your own. Standing right before you is Justin Joroge from the school, Kiambu High School, 36.9 degrees east of the Greenwich Meridian and 1.2 degrees south of the equator. Strongly and vehemently proposing the motion that Africa cannot do without the West. First definition of terms. The West is a part of the world that includes Europe and North America, according to the Macmillan Dictionary. To do without, as a phrasal verb, means to succeed in living or working without someone or something. So, let us start and invigorate this motion to a whole new level by stating the reasons for our argument. So, from where I stand as a Kenyan, we've been having this fuss about the Big Four agenda. And Uhuru Kenyatta, our president, want to achieve this Big Four agenda by 2022. But I was very sad when I heard that Kenyans probably don't need or have refused to inject 1.5% of their salary every month to favor this Big Four agenda. Therefore, on Thursday this week, when I was reading the Daily Nation, I saw this headline, that United Nations has accepted to inject some funds into that housing agreement to build around 5,000 to 8,000 houses in Machakos. Can you imagine how happy I was? Then you tell me we can do without the West? No, we need them. Actually, it doesn't mean over-relying on them. It only means that we need them at a certain percentage. You get it? So, another thing is that United Nations has accepted to inject funds into not only that housing agreement, but to all the Big Four agenda pillars. According to Tuesday, May 7th, the Standard Financial Standard magazine, the World Bank and the United Nations will be the main financiers of the Big Four agenda after Treasury report indicated that the Washington-based institutions will pump $108 billion into agriculture, housing, and healthcare projects. $108 billion. It's not about borrowing. And if it's about borrowing so that we can depend on the West as a certain percentage, it's about capping the amount. Again, besides this, we've had the infrastructure. The infrastructure in the West is much more developed than here in Africa. A good example, and I will relate infrastructure to business in this case, is the Amazon as a company in the West. It is managed by the CEO, Jeff Bezos. And what they are doing is that they've initiated a project whereby the Prime Air Dome is a project whereby they use drones to actually transport goods from where they are being manufactured to their customers. And Jumia in Kenya, according to April 6, 2018's Daily Nation, is making a loss of 14.9 billion. So don't you think if these two companies partner together, they will achieve much more, and Jumia as an African company, as a business company in Africa, will achieve much more unprecedented results than we can think about. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to make your case.
The child is out, and the umbilical cord must be cut. It is the high time that Africa commits suicide if it is the only way to cut all tabs from the West. Phoebe Wanjiku Mumba from the great school at the slopes of Mount Kerenyaga, Kabare Girls High School, strongly disagreeing with the motion that says that we can do without the West. At the mention of the word Africa, what do we understand? Africa is simply a continent eastern of Atlantic Ocean, west of Indian Ocean, north of Antarctica, and south of Europe. And what is the West? West is a term that refers to the western parts of the northern hemisphere, whose culture is derived from Europe. Africa can accomplish everything, and I mean everything, my dear audience, if we cut all taps from the West and depend on our own. Why am I saying this? Let us take a mental flight to Mauritius, to Tunisia, to Lesotho. What do we see in those countries? The textile have been so well in those countries, such that the booming economy impact on the economy of those countries is so great that, according to the World Trade Organization of 2016, it declared that those countries created 5,362,000,000 production worth. What did this result to? It led to employment opportunities. What am I trying to drive home that we can do without the West? Let us go to peace and justice. We can see that commissions have been erected, commissions like ethics and anti-corruption commissions like the African Court of Justice and Human Rights. We do not need Qureshi from the Queen's House to come and hear a trial over the Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mbetamwilu, because we have these commissions that will pertain all cases regarding these corruption cases. Let us go to technology sector, my dear audience. What do we see in these countries in Africa? The technology in Africa, we can depend on ourselves. And why am I saying this? Let us take a mental flight to the KSEF, Kenya Science Engineering Fair. And not rather Kenyan, but also let us look at Africa. We see that according to the interestingenneering.com, 8 inventions from Africa that helped to change the world. The do-it-yourself braille printer by Shubham, the pedal-powered washing machine by Remia Jos, and the water purifier and power generator by Cynthia. Yet, and also, my dear audience, Maseno decided to create the biogas. What am I trying to state out? It is the high time we stop debating over undebatable facts and let us discuss more pressing issues affecting our society, like the violence against women. I rest my case.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes to rebut.
Ladies and gentlemen, Africa is a third world continent. My question is, if we don't need the West, who helps who? Gishuki Karogo is my name from Kiambu High School, strongly proposing the motion that says that Africa cannot do without the West. Kindly allow me to inform my sisters that Africa is a developing continent. We cannot cut the umbilical cord and put Africa on its own, because by the time that we are a developing continent simply means we still need them. Well, my brother brought you to Kenya about the big 4 agendas just to bring you home. Can we go a little bit deeper? Africa is an agricultural continent. We produce most of the agricultural products. Can I tell you that Africa, according to WorldStopExports.com, cereal export rose to 143%. Central African Republic went all the way to 378.5%. That is just to show you how we rely on export. And what do we export? Agricultural exports and minerals that are stored in Kenya. But let me take you a little bit deeper. Follow me carefully. Let us see that what this is doing. South Africa, according to WorldStopExport.com, 19% of their internal revenue, 19.8% of their internal revenue was because of exports. We cannot trade within ourselves simply because Africa virtually produces the same products. Who buys our products? The West. The West buys our products. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa is not developing because of one single thing. Young people have the ideas, but they don't have the finance. But the West has the finance that we need. That is the state where Africa is in, having ideas without finances. Trade will bring the finance that we need. Can we still do without the West? No. Ladies and gentlemen, in the olden days, before the Western people came, Africa survived on its own. But my question is, was Africa developing? No, it was not developing. They brought their technology, they brought their finances and invested in Africa. And that is why we are where we are today. My people, we still need them. We still need them to go farther. We still need them to upgrade. They are telling about resources. For how long have those resources been lying under the ground until the Western people came? How long? Brothers and sisters, we need the West.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for your rebuttal.
Dear brothers, what's wrong with you? What's your problem? How dare you say that Africa cannot do without the West? And to make matters worse, you yourselves are Africans. Poor shame. The first proposer said that we need the West for the building of the houses. Why do they build houses? Because they demolish them. And after they demolish them, people are left helpless. And if we need the West, I hope you know the meaning of debts. Each and every Kenyan right now, born or unborn, owes the West 100,000 shillings. I mean, I'm 15. How on earth am I supposed to earn that? And then another person said that Africa is a third world continent. You should know this. The only reason why we are a third world continent is because this West you are supporting so much with so much compassion is stealing money from us. So get your facts right and statistics right. Then come and tell us that we need the West. Understood? We should all know this because we are Africans. Africa is a land enriched with minerals. We can know this because of our neighboring country to the left, Tanzania, blessed with diamonds. Let us go all the way to the south, South Africa, blessed with gold. And the country that will make me lead to my first point, Nigeria. Research has shown that in 2010, Nigeria, through minerals, oils, and fuels, made that $333 billion. That is 7, not 5, not 6, 7 more times than the international aid we get. Then tell me why should we need the West when make 7 times they make? Africa is not poor. It's just that we have this tendency of depending on them. Listen, we are not children. We are children, but now we can walk. Let us walk. Stop holding your parents' hand for heaven's sake. Walk. Walk, dear brothers. Walk. I have been Wamboi Mwangi from Kabare Girls High School, a firm opposer to this motion that Africa cannot do without the West. And truly, let me tell you one thing. We can. I rest my case.
For the question session, the proposers have been asked, are the strings attached to the help that we get from the West worth maintaining that relationship? The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked, with regards to the minerals they say Africa has, haven't we been able to exploit them because of help from the West? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to respond.
I am from the UFFA, the United Form 4 Alliance, Kiambu High School, and I am here to absolutely propose this motion. Africa needs the West. Now, somebody is talking about strings being attached to this help that we get from the West. But I'm here to tell you that I'm here to change your mindset. I like what you're saying, but I just don't agree with you. It's because we don't have the finances to pay these people. We don't have the finances to aid ourselves. So they need to take a little bit of what we have as means to pay for their help. My sister here was talking about let go of your mothers and fathers' hands. I don't take them as my mothers and fathers. They are my elder brother leading me on the path to greatness, on the path to glory. And so we cannot say that the West is actually exploiting us. We are just paying them. Because we cannot pay them with money. We do not have money. And it's high time we say the truth and let the truth be told. Let us call a spade and not a big spoon, because we cannot afford to pay them with money, but our resources are enough to cater for our needs and at the same time to bring us what we need. But look at the bright side. Stop thinking about the strings attached. Think about the good they're doing in our society. Think about the good they're doing in our lives. Look at the natural calamities all over the world. Look at Africa in specific. Look at drought. Look at wars. Look at the floods. Look at the people dying of Ebola in Congo. And they're the people who are going back to those countries. They stand with us and they help us curb these things. You know, Isaac Newton said, if you want to see the future, stand on the shoulders of giants. And I see a giant, and it's the West. They hold our hand through the Western countries. The United Nations helps us. The United Nations makes sure that our brothers and sisters who cannot afford the meal that you take for granted in your home, they're feeding our people. And when they feed our people, we should be grateful. And I say we need them. What is the point of having resources and we don't know how to get them from where we are? What is the point of buying a shoe, sir, and you don't even have the feet to put the shoe on? So I say we need them. We've always needed them, and we still need them. Look at the good. Change your mindset. And above all, have faith that some good will come out of it. It might be not much today, but tomorrow our children will see the light and they will say, Mama, Daddy, you made the right choice. Thank you very much.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes.
I am an African lady, born and bred at the heart of this beautiful continent, to support my homeland and by not depending on people who think they have a divine right to tell me what they want me to do. I begin by answering the question that was posed to us. Dependency is not making us rise, but rather it's killing us. Simply because these Western countries use up our mineral resources and their profits are repatriated to their own countries, leaving our African countries just as poor and having numerous debts like what we have as a trait now, $5.1 billion US. And to my first point, Africa has good climate, fertile lands to support agriculture. Our continent's food market is valued at $300 billion. And it's projected to rise to $1 trillion by 2030. This tells you one thing: Africa is rich. But why are you saying that we ought to depend on these Western countries, yet they just want to use up what we have and get their own profits, leaving us as poor as they want us to be? Agriculture will help us to create employment opportunities. This one will also help us to provide food for our own country, thus achieving SDG number 1 and SDG number 2. No poverty, zero hunger. Our choices are clear-cut. It is either you continue as a net food importer or seize the business opportunities that are got through agriculture. And to my second point, take a look at our medical field. We do not need the West, simply because a lot of advancement has taken place. For example, in Kenya's one of the most biggest hospitals, that is Kenyatta National Hospital, in 2017 performed a very delicate and historical surgery, the separation of Siamese twins. That tells you one thing: Africa has indeed got to
improve their medical sector. Therefore, we don't need the West. It's simple. We don't need the West. We can do these things on our own selves. We have the resources. Africa is rich. Then why should we go on and say that we should support that the West continue humiliating us and leaving us in debt? It's simple. Dependency is a killer, a destroyer. Watch out.
Proposition, you have 1 minute for your final statement.
I'm back to bestow light at the end of the tunnel. And my opening statement is 60% basic and 60% acidic. What are you going to get? You're going to get 100% basic solution. Why am I saying this? In everything that happens in your life or in Africa's life, there has to be a certain percentage of repercussion. Even machines themselves, as you look at it, even a machine has a certain cost that you have to pay. You know, what my sisters are saying is that they want everything for free. Oh, my friends, nothing's for free. I don't know the world you live in, but nothing is for free. You have to toil here and you pay here. And so I say, they are not humiliating us. They are not taking our resources for their own personal gain, but they are actually helping us to take the steps to become also as a great continent. And as I close, let's go for the right choice.
Opposition, you have 1 minute for your final submission.
I am back again to drive some sense into us because we have been brainwashed by these guys sweeping their house from the outside to the inside. We can do it as Africans on our feet without the West. We have done it in industrialization. We have done it in agriculture. We have done it in health. We have done in technology. The pregnant in weight points that we have given you. What more do you want us to convince you that we can do without the West? As for those who are still not yet convinced enough that we can do without the West, sit down, analyze the topic, and ask yourself over and over again why you're still the only person in a sinking ship. Don't you love your lives? My dear audience, winter is coming. Watch out.
Kiambu, Joseph, a strong speaker, really confident, though I felt you could have done more to convince us. Secondly, you were talking about the UN severally, as if it's a country in the West, yet it's it's an organization comprising of very many countries around the world. Gishoke, really confident. There was a lot of tone of variation, which was really catchy. A lot of dramatic poses that captured the attention of the audience. Good. Jeff, really passionate there. A very confident speaker. I think you have a great future in debate.
Kabare girls, the first one, Phoebe, you are a confident speaker. You gave examples from back home which I felt were good. The second speaker, Grace, brought in the issue of debts. You are very emotional and passionate whenever you were talking, and you kept asking rhetorical questions, so keeping us together with you as you are speaking. Also brought in the issue of them stealing our resources in the name of helping us. Then the last speaker, Marceline, also very passionate. You were able to answer the question that you were asked. I think all in all, both sides did their best. May the best team win.
So down to the numbers. You know, in Kiswahili, there's a saying that says, Kenda karibu na kumi. And 9 is close to 10. And that one number makes all the difference. And that is the difference that we have today in the results. Kabare Girls High School, the judges awarded you 69.5%. Let's give them a round of applause. Kiambu High School, with that difference of 1%, the judges saw it fit to award you 68.5%. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations to both teams on stage. Do remember, Kiambu High School, that the trick is not in winning, it's in how you play the game.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to watch the Great Debaters contest as we continue the search for the next Great Debater, Season 9. Remember, if it's not on the Great Debaters contest, then it's not debate. I have been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. See you in the next debate.